Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Powering Up programme, Enhancing Your Digital Capabilities, the launch and application process. Our panellists today and guests are myself, I'm Carol Donnelly, the Community Business Connector, and Debbie Mullins, the Strategic Partnership Manager for Catalyst, Ed Howarth, Powering Up Delivery Manager at Power to Change, Steve Conway, one of my fellow Community Business Connectors, and we also have Sona Mahenti, Community Business Connector, and Simon Borking, Community Business Connector. And we will be recording this video today, the webinar for you, and please put any questions you have in the question and answer section. So we're going to continue. What we will cover today is the introduction to Power to Change, our vision and the change we want to make, and Ed Howarth will be leading on that. Ed and I will be coming back to talk about the Powering Up programme and what is it and what the community business definition is. Then we'll be going on to introducing the community business connectors. That's the four of us, myself, Sona, Simon and Steve, and they'll get to introduce themselves. The digital offering, we've got Debbie from Catalyst with us today. She'll be talking us through that. I'll be going over the application process, telling you how you can apply. Then we'll be looking at the question and answer sessions. And then we'll tell you about the next steps and the key contact information. So over to Ed.
Thanks, Carol, and hello, everyone. Thanks for joining today. So I just wanted to give a quick introduction to who Power to Change are. So next slide, please, Carol. So Power to Change started in January 2015, so making us nearly 7 years old. We're an independent trust and we're endowed with 150 million back in 2015 to provide support for community businesses across England. The type of support we've provided to date is we've had a research institute looking at all the evidence and impact data about community businesses and how they can improve communities. Setting up peer networks to support the development of community businesses, business development support and capacity building, which is very relevant for today. Also, lots of events, advice on social investment, and probably what we're most well known for is our funding, which we provided funding for community businesses across England. So we are a spend down trust, and we were originally due to shut in 2022. The pandemic changed a lot of things for everyone and everything. And as a result, Power to Change knew that they needed to continue to support community businesses for a further 5 years. So we've gone out and fundraised and we've developed a new strategy for the next 5 years, and Powering Up is a big part of that. Next slide, please. So what's our vision? Powerful communities and better places. So our vision is by 2025, more communities in England run businesses that give them the power to change what matters to them. They create more resilient places that are better to live and work in for everyone. And then what's our mission? Our mission is to strengthen the community business sector as a whole. So our mission is to strengthen the community business sector to tackle some of society's biggest challenges at a local level, including the 3 biggest challenges of our time: climate change, digital transformation, and social inequalities, all of which fit into the Powering Up program, and we'll talk more about in a bit. So vision and missions are all good and well, but what does that actually mean, and what do we want to see change? So firstly, we want to improve the capabilities of community businesses to help you respond to the challenges presented by the last 18 months and the pandemic. We want to improve funding and support for community businesses from other funders and also in government. We want the sector to grow. We want to reach new and diverse communities actively participating in the community business sector. We want more community-owned assets in disadvantaged communities. We want more community-led solution in more sectors. And finally, we want community businesses developing locally led solutions to net zero. So Powering Up, I just thought it would be useful, first of all, to highlight the wealth of guidance that's there on the website, which many of you have seen by the fact you're on this call now. But if you haven't, I highly recommend having a look. It will cover all the things we're talking about today, but in much more detail. So please do visit the website. On to the next slide, please, Carol. So I just wanted to give a little bit about the background of where Powering Up came from. It's not new. It's been developed we developed it last year in response to the pandemic. And from that 12-month pilot, the program that we developed and all the learning that we got from that, we're now expanding the program to be a longer program over the next 4 years with more support and a lot of learning from that 12-month pilot. So it's just to give you the knowledge that this is been a pilot program that's now expanding out into full scale up. So it's built on a lot of learning and understanding from the market over the last 12 to 18 months. Hand back to Carol. You're on mute.
That doesn't help if I'm on mute, does it? So Powering Up ethos and the approach. So what's really behind the programme and why now? I think Ed has really covered a little bit about why we needed to move forward. I think last year when we did the pilot programme, we were in sort of an emergency response to community businesses. We took that learning and now we've really driven it forward. To bring out a new collaborative approach to it, to provide that flexible and tailored support. It was quite structured last time we did it, and we've learned a lot from that. So this year, we've got a whole 12-month programme to work with. So that means we'll be working with the community businesses to work with your timelines, i.e. not an imposed timeline like we had last time for 3 months. We realised it needed to be a longer programme. And also giving you the autonomy to manage your own support needs. So you know what you need best for that community business. So we'll be working alongside you with the leaders there and your teams, and we'll go through that change journey together. Previously, the community business connectors, or we were previously called link workers, we came in for a short period and then handed you over to the consultants. This time we'll be sharing the process with you. And we're taking a really good asset-based approach to that. So, you know, we can learn together, we can grow together so that the program really works for you and we can just show that it's a co-designed and a real learning process. So what's the offer that we've got for you? Well, as I said, it's a 12-month support program. You'll be working alongside one of the 4 business community connectors, and they will help you with a diagnostic. We'll go through that. That normally takes 1 to 2 hours to go through the full business diagnostic and help you really understand what it is you need from this program. And when we've done that, we will then sort of work with develop a business support program for you, and then we will bring in the other connectors, the other program support people that we've got. What we've also got is that we've increased the amount of money in the budget available for this, and it is a digital focus for this first tranche that we've launched. So there'll be up to £9,000 of business development support within this budget. You don't have to draw that budget down within the first few months. You can take the full 12 months to draw it down. And this will be allocated to work with the support providers, i.e. the consultants that we've got working with us, or a consultant that you may be very happy working with and really know your community business. And they will be brokered in to meet the specific needs of your business. There's also an increase of up to £3,000 for professional development. We realised from the pilot programme that this was a really crucial one to help you with your leadership style, to help with team building, and also looking at wellbeing support. We're also looking to bring in some additional peer mentors. They're peer mentors, they're the people that already understand your business. They work in the same thing, so it's almost like they've got the t-shirt and know how to do it, so they'll work with you as well. And we'll also work with the mental health and wellbeing support. That was a crucial part of helping you develop and grow your community business. And the bit that we didn't have last time is the unrestricted grant of up to £8,000. And that is available to you to actually support your community business and to help you as leaders. Now, you could look to bring in additional people to work with you. It could free up a leader's time. It could also look to build in some IT work. So it's unrestricted, and we haven't got too many restrictions around what you can spend it on. So who are our key partners working with us? Well, we're delighted to say that a number of the partners that worked with us on the pilot programme, Eastside Primetimers, Cooperatives UK, the Plunkett Foundation, the Abelli Initiative, Locality, and working in partnership now with Catalyst, alongside the professional development and wellbeing offer from Bird and the coaches and the peer mentors. So as you can see, it's a really good support package that we've got working with you. And one of those is with us today. So I'm going to hand over to Debbie from Catalyst.
Thank you, Carol. Hello, everybody. Yeah, we are really excited to be working with Power to Change on this new program. And we'll be supporting with the digital offer and alongside the other providers. Just a bit about Catalyst, if you don't know, I haven't heard about us. We are a new initiative. We've been around since 2019, and we're a network of organizations and experts really dedicated to help social impact organizations to do more and to do better and to work more clever through data, through digital, through design. And we do that collectively and bringing different expertise together. Thank you, Carol. Can I have the next slide? We are currently working with Power to Change. We have been since summer to design a pilot and a first iteration of the Enhancing Your Digital Capabilities support program that you'll be part of for the 12 months if you're successful. In January, we'll do a test run, really embracing how digital service design works, where you create a test, you run it and then iterate it. We're still in the process of shaping this pilot. Some of you might be involved in that already. We've had some surveys, some interviews, and we'll be ready in January to start the pilot that will be developed further on, which I'll go to the next slide, please. What you will be supported with, what we can say already, is you'll be supported to look at your digital approach and see how you can be more efficient and effective in what you do. Transform any aspects of your business to be, to increase your reach, to serve your users better, to make the most of the assets you have. Learn how to use design thinking techniques to bring in new digital offering. New doesn't mean something that doesn't exist, but it might be new to you. So it might be somewhere that exists already, something that exists already, but you are not using and you see potential for that. Embed systems and processes to improve your knowledge and information management. So your data, back office functions, as we say as well. We at Catalyst really find it important that we bring people together and not work in silos. So we also look at creating opportunities where you can come together as peers, learn and share, see where you can utilize your efforts to look at shared solutions for problems that you might have. Thank you, Carol. As I said earlier, any learnings and insight gained in the pilot, but also further iterations of the support will inform the next program. So you'll be benefiting from the support we'll be offering you, but you'll also be shaping the next program. So that means we are able to be agile to the needs that we see arising and can be responsive to that, as this is a 4-year fund. Things will change, and by being so iterative and flexible means we can make sure that we're always in the best place to support you. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. So I just wanted to quickly go through some of the eligibility criteria, which you'll also be able to do an eligibility checker when you go to apply. But next slide, and I'll just quickly go through the eligibility. So you must be operating in England at a neighbourhood level. So Steve will talk a bit more about what that means in terms of meeting the 4 key features of community business. So we'll go into those. So you must be a community business. You also must be looking for support to improve your digital capabilities. You don't necessarily need to know the detail or the sort of depth of what that is. That's what the program will help you do, really understand what your needs are and then meet your needs. So it's that you might have a need there, or you might have a very specific thing that you're looking for support with, but it is very focused on digital at the moment. the program will expand in the coming years. You must be incorporated. You must have been trading for at least 1 full year. So we will ask for accounts to look at how the trading is and what trading you've been doing over the last 12 months. And I think critical to this program is that you're able to dedicate a minimum of 12 days of staff time over the next 12 months. So that doesn't necessarily have to be yourself on this call now. It can be members of the team. But this is a capacity support program, and that requires time. And that's probably the hardest thing, which is why we have this unrestricted fund alongside the program. Have a charitable purpose and be operating for public benefit. If those things are, you're a bit unsure what that means, the Charity Commission website has some really good links on what that means. So now I think I'm passing over to Steve to look at the key features of a community business.
Hi, I'm Steve, one of the new community business connectors. And for those of you that have been with us at Power to Change previously, you'll be familiar with the terms community business. But for those of you who are new to the organisation or new to Power to Change, it's really, really important that we help you try and understand what we mean by a community business. The 4 elements are locally rooted, accountable to the local community, trading for the benefit of the local community, and having a broad community impact. So what do we mean by locally rooted? So we're talking about organisations who work in very particular geographical spaces, usually at a neighbourhood level or an estate level or a community level. And that these organisations, these roots don't just extend to the geographic location of it, but actually the organisation is set up, run, managed, organised and coordinated by people inside those communities. And that then also means it has a degree of accountability to the community. So it's slightly different from a social enterprise, which might be, a board of local people, but has no accountability or representation for the local community. A community business has mechanisms and structures and processes which allow the community to impact, allow the community to influence, and allow the community to shape the actions, services, products and things that the local community business does. And that also then leads on to the idea of trading for local community benefits. So it might be something like a local community shop providing discounted locally grown food to a local community, or it could even be something as different as an organisation working in a local community with people with disabilities. And the benefits coming from that are things, like promoting integration, promoting volunteering, providing cohesive communities, lots of bringing people together for community benefits to improve the local area. So the business is trading with a clear model which demonstrates that what they do benefits the local community. Broad community impact. So again, this is about how the locally rooted business, which is locally accountable, how it delivers, how it works, how it engages with the local community, across the local community. So it could be working with volunteers who are young people, supporting intergenerational activities. It could be working with people with disabilities or new communities, but the impact of the community business is tightly focused on that local community and the different elements within that local community. That local community then has some impact and some control and some shaping and directional responsibilities for the local business, and it's run by local people. That could be anything from an accessible dance workshop group that we work with in Wiltshire, through to community shops in Lancashire, or even community hubs in Tyneside. The really, really important aspect of this is that there is local accountability, a local focus, local impact, and the benefits are focused in those neighbourhoods or those communities as your organisations may define. Next, please. I've got the pleasure of introducing a couple of team members that you've not yet met. I'll switch straight across to Sona. Would you like to introduce yourself? Take a couple of minutes to tell us all about yourself.
Hi everyone, managed to get off mute. which is progress. I'm Sona Matani. I've supported over 400 organisations over about 25 years, and predominantly led by people from Black and minoritized communities. And many of them have been community businesses. And over the last 2.5 years, I've been working with Black-led organisations based in Bristol and the Southwest, from radio stations to carnival hubs, care and advisory organisations. Before that, for about 11 years, I was the chief exec of a large multi-purpose community centre based in Tottenham, in North London, where when I was a bit younger, I was volunteering at the same place. Now I've put some of that knowledge into setting up some community business type projects in France, and that's what I'm doing at the moment when I'm not with Power to Change. But delighted to be here and look forward to engaging with you on this programme. Thank you.
Thanks, Sona. Simon, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Simon Borkin. Yeah, I joined the team with Steve and Sona just a few weeks ago. For those if you may know, I was with Cooperatives UK for just over 7 years and worked a lot around community shares, cooperative development. So I suppose I've got a specialism in cooperative and community benefit societies and community shares finance. I also have been involved in a community business closely for the last 6 years. I'm a board member, trustee of Friends of Stretford Public Hall, which runs a heritage building in southwest Manchester as a multi-purpose community space. I became a sort of freelance consultant practitioner in 2019. So taken on this role as a community business connector, but I continue to work with community organisations, some of which in Manchester, where I'm based, but also across the Northwest and across England as well. And more recently, I suppose I've become more and more involved in digital tools and supporting community organisations develop digital. So I'm involved with Catalyst and the team around the digital capabilities side. So I'll be active in that space, but also continue to kind of work with community organisations and heritage projects and providing support and advice to groups that are looking to raise social investment in community shares. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. And we're the 4 people that will be reaching out to you through the application process and through the support process. We each have a unique set of skills as well as common skills, and we hope that we will be a good match for your organisations as you make those applications and come through. Carol, can I have the next slide, please? Oh, it's staggered. Okay, so the most important thing to know is that the application window is now open, but it is a short application window. It will close on the 13th of December. The applications will be online. And you can see the details of the address on the second box down there. If you've got any questions about your applications, if you're successful, you'll be allocated one of the 4 of us, and we'll start the relationship by trying to identify what your strengths and needs are, and draft the initial support plan and agree how you would like us to support you over the next 12 months. And we'll then negotiate and work with you to identify the most appropriate support connectors for your particular needs. The programme will run over a 12-month period, so it's really, really important that we think with you about how we'll help you to maintain that engagement with us. And as we said earlier, we do have a small amount of funding there to assist in terms of capacity backfilling and some of the trade-offs that your organisation is going to have to make to engage with us over this 12-month period. And we are aware that, you know, engagement does come at a cost, and we'll work with you on those. And then throughout the process, we'll be in touch with you, but we'll help you with a review of the progress and of the support and the work that we've done with you and the work that others have done with you, towards the end of that 12-month period. Next, please, and hand over.
Thanks, Steve. And I think you can probably get a lovely flavour there of about 100 years worth of experience that the 4 connectors have got, and obviously working with Ed and the rest of the team at Power to Change, Catalyst, and all of the providers that we're working with. So you're probably wondering now, what is the process? Well, we've tried as simple as possible. So, you know, it's live now on the website, so you can have a look straight after this. Go onto the website. It is live. I have checked it this morning. It is working brilliantly. So what's the application process? So section 1 will ask you all about your organisation, and there are lots of hints and tips on the website as well. So it will say, you know, what does your organisation do? Where are you? We'll ask you about your incorporation date, your governance structure, where you operate. So make sure you've got that information with you. You know, there would sometimes, you know, make sure you know whether you are a CIC, make sure you know whether you have your organisation number with you, and also whether you've had any previous funding by Power to Change. And are you a member of those partner organisations, i.e. are you a member of Plunkett Foundation? Are you a member of Locality or Co-ops UK? You know, make sure that you've got that information to hand. And if you haven't, you can come back and refill in the application form a little bit later. But you have about 150 words to tell us about your organisation. So that's what it does on those. We've also got some information on there is how you're accountable to the local community. That takes about 250 words. Again, we've got hints and tips on the website. So make sure you have a look, download the documents that we've got there. It will give you some really good ideas of how you can really be concise, because we can always come back for further information from you. But, you know, try and make it as concise as you can. None of the waffle. Bullet points work quite well for us. And if we need any information, we'll come back to you. Section 4 talks about diversity, equity and inclusion. So you'll be asked about the extent to which your leadership, you know, how diverse are your leadership? It is one of the criteria that we may have to, if we're flooded with applications, we may have to then say, okay, what are the priorities that we need to do it? So we need to understand your diversity, equity, inclusion, because that is a really important part of the funding with Power to Change. So if it's not your leadership that are diverse or inclusive, you know, is it the staffing, is it the community or the business you represent, or is it, you know, the area that you're working in? Let us know what makes up your community. Also about the community business, you'll be asked to describe your organisation and how it meets those 4 business community criteria that Steve has, you know, brilliantly gone over for you. Again, if you're not quite sure, come back to the connectors. We'll be able to help you with that. Last time round, we had a number of organisations that were absolutely brilliant, but couldn't demonstrate how they were a community business until we'd had a conversation with them. So come and have that chat. We're very friendly people. We love talking to you, and we really will help you with this process. Make sure that you're locally rooted. We've had some come through that were brilliant organisations. Unfortunately, they were based in Scotland and Wales. Don't forget, Power to Change operates only in England. So make sure that you are locally rooted and you can demonstrate, you know, if you work across 4 postcode criteria, you know, make sure you let us know why it's important that you're working across there. It's a little bit easier for a community farm, a community shop, a community centre to demonstrate how local they are. But sometimes you could be working across a couple of boroughs in London. And again, we can help you with that if you're not quite sure whether you're locally rooted. Trading, again, really, really important one. I know there's £8,000 worth of grant funding on this, but this is, you really have to be able to generate your income. So that will be from services that you're giving, you know, you may be business to business to community, or it may be goods, i.e. in the shop, in the farms, the community farms, you know, how are you actually trading that income? So make sure that you understand that. If you are just solely grant reliant, you're not technically a community business, but you may be able to be one a little bit later on. Again, we've talked a lot about the accountability to community, but make sure you're concise, make sure that you can really demonstrate how you are. And again, as Steve mentioned earlier, that broad community impact. You know, we don't know you. And, don't assume that we will know all about you. We will do some research and due diligence, and I'll come on to that in a little bit. But, make sure that information is there for us, that we can actually say, actually, you do meet our criteria. Because if we get inundated with applications, we will have to really look at that. The application process goes on to section 6. That's all about your organisational plans. What do you want to do? Remember, this one is about the digital inclusion, about how you want to improve your digital offering in your community business. So you need to be able to give details about your changes in your business needs. The pilot program really looked at, the impact of COVID and what that did. Now we're looking for growth. Now we're looking to see what you're going to do to develop and grow your business over the next 1 to 2 years. We don't really want to know about your COVID issues. We want to know how you're going to drive it forward, how your community business is going to thrive and grow. And again, keep that as a digital one. So it may be that you are looking how you're going to develop your communication needs to the community. Now we are all in a digital age. Normally these would have been done face to face previously. Every single one of us are used to Zoom, and every single one of us makes the mistake. You're still on mute, right the way up to other people. We always do it. How will you identify the areas that need to be worked on? Have you discussed that with your board members? Have you discussed that with the community? How have you got to there? So make sure that you've put that information in. And how do you feel, where are you in terms of your digital knowledge and skills? If you're at a low level, that's great. If you're at a higher level, you know exactly what you need. You want to move your finances into a cloud program, that's great. You've done some mapping out. We're looking at, across the board. We're not asking you to be digital experts. None of us, apart from Simon, who's on this call, is the digital expert, and Debbie from Catalyst. But most of us, we're learning as we go. So just make sure that you've identified it. You know what you want to work on. Be clear, be concise, be precise. And also the digital support that you'll help to develop and grow your organisation. Is it that you just need 10 iPads and you can use some of the grant funding for that, so you can actually communicate with the community? Do you need to really understand, your social media strategy so you can do that? Or do you need a booking system? And I know on the pilot, this is why we looked at digital as the first. We had a lot of community centres, really needed to go online to understand their digital booking process. So, have you looked at that? So put that down into your application and show us how you will then create the space and the time to engage in the program of support. Remember, it is a 12-month program. You don't have to spend everything in the first few months. We can come backwards and forwards. And the community business connectors will be with you throughout the whole process. We are your link, and we were the ones that will understand your business and really help you get the best out of this program. So help us to help you. The due diligence, I said I'd come back to this. Because it's an £8,000 grant that is coming direct to you, this is what's different. When we did the pilot last year, there was no grant coming out to the community businesses. So we will have to understand, and we will have to dig a little bit deeper. So we will need to understand that you're operating for the public benefit. Don't assume we know. We will look at your websites if you've got one. We will look at Company House. We will look at your accounts for the last year, just to make sure that you're operating for social and charitable purposes. There are some fantastic CICs out there, social enterprises, but unfortunately, they don't meet that criteria. So just make sure that you've got that social and charitable purpose built into it. You can pay trustees and directors, but make sure that we understand, how you're doing it. And you also, how many directors and trustees do you have? We had some apply last year that only had 1 or 2. Unfortunately, they don't really meet the criteria for community business. So make sure you've got a number of community directors and trustees that are operating in the local area. And the policies need to be in place. So have you got your safeguarding? Have you got your diversity, equity and inclusion policies there? Have you got your health and safety? Have you got your data protection? All of those policies that are the norm, I think, for a community business that have been trading for more than a year. If you haven't, make sure that you've got them in place by the time you apply. Financial accounts, we will need that this time because of the due diligence, because we are giving away, this is, you know, public money, and we are held accountable at Power to Change. So that's why we do need your most recent filed accounts and audited accounts as well. And if you've got them, management accounts, your last 2 quarterly management accounts will really help us with the due diligence. So that's the simple, and I have said it is a simple process. And what we will go through is that you will look online, you'll be able to see what the process is. You'll be able to go through that. If you get stuck at any point on this, please come back to your community business connectors. We are here to help you. We are not here to hinder you. We want you to get through on this program. And, you know, this is just the first tranche that is open. As Ed said earlier, this will be an ongoing process for the next 4 years. Hopefully, I'm not sure whether all the community business connectors will be around for that time, but I hope they are, because it's a really great program to work on, and we are really looking forward to working with you. Not sure where the question and answer bit went, so we're going to come for any questions that we've had, and I think Kate's going to bring those questions to us.
We're currently waiting for some questions. At present,
well,
there aren't any.
Yeah, well, maybe we've answered all those questions for you. So just to reiterate that the program is live today, and the application forms are live on the website. You can go in and fill in that. You don't have to fill them all in at one go. You can come backwards and forwards to it. There is a button on there that says save and submit. Please just use the save button if you haven't, you know, formally finished it. So continue to do that. You will get a unique link that will come through to your email address, and you'll be able to go in and out of it until you've finally finished it. Only when you are 100% certain that you have completed the application form, then submit. What happens next as we went through the process, the closes on the 13th of December. It will probably be after Christmas now that we'll come back to you as community business connectors, because we have a 10-day window. The community business connectors will look at that. We will take it to a team meeting, and then we will say whether you are successful. If you are not successful, we will also give you reasons of why you are not successful in this. And maybe it's because it wasn't digital. And maybe you'll be able to come back in the next round when we're looking at climate and sustainability and financial inclusion. So don't be put off. You know, if you think, oh, I haven't got a digital program, maybe wait for the next tranche to come out, because this is a really great program, a really great program for you to be engaged in, because what we want to do is work with you. And have we got any questions yet? I think we might have some in the chat. Nope. Yeah. And please ensure, please ensure that you connect with the connectors at cbconnectors@powertochange.org.uk. Sorry, Kate.
Apologies, Carol. Someone was just asking whether we would be able to share the recording, and the recording will be on the program webpage, which I'll put a post up now in the question and answer session.
Brilliant. And I take it, yeah, if anybody wanted the PowerPoint presentation, we could send that out as well. But this is all included on the website. There's also a video on the website of that you can have a look at as well. And as I said, there's some fantastic notes on there about the community business. It gives some really good hints and tips of how you can apply and what to write in those boxes. And if you're not sure, as I said, please contact us. We're here to help. And I think that probably wraps it up then. Next step is guidance and eligibility checker. As I said, it's live. If you're unsure, there's our email address. Please put your contact details in, especially a phone number and a preferred time to be contacted, and one of the 4 connectors will contact you. Just a brief overview of what questions you have. And remember, you've got a 4-week period to get that application in. And I think we'll just say thank you very much and goodbye from the connectors and the team at Power to Change and Catalyst.